So I guess we have an arrangement. I come on here and be a wise ass and lecture you about all kinds of things, and you just accept it. And the stars are asking us, what will we accept, right? Right. I'm telling you that's what the stars are asking us right now. So that's the situationship we are sailing on. And make no mistake, we are sailing. We wise asses are sailing to the Saturn and the Sun in Pisces. Some may see it as a Saturn ship, and some may see it as a Sun ship, but the situation is one and the same, as Saturn and the Sun are conjunct in the sky right now in the sign of Pisces. Now, because Jupiter is in Taurus and ruling the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury in Pisces, we can accept a lot if we are stable and have an organized setup that makes us stable. And no, this is not a setup to trick you or to pull the rug out from under the Pisces-ruled feet. Saturn in Pisces definitely doesn't want that right now. Grip that fucking rug with your toes like your fucking life depended on it, because that's what the definition of the Saturn and Sun in Pisces means, almost literally. Gripping life like your toes grip the ground. And if anyone tells you anything else, they are obviously not a wise-ass astrologer, and you shouldn't be watching their channel. So, I gotta give you, the viewer, credit. You are loyal. And maybe your loyalty is because Jupiter is in Taurus now. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Of course I know. That's exactly why it is. Jupiter in Taurus now is ruling the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury in Pisces. And I know some of your friends might watch this and say, "You're going to take this and accept this from this guy?" And you say, "Yeah, he seems a bit odd, coming on my computer screen and acting like he has the right to lecture me about all kinds of weird and personal things." Especially considering he's never met me, but the setup is okay. And that's where Venus and Mars and Aquarius come in with the social rules of flirtation and aggression. The societal rules of flirtation and aggression are a hallmark of Venus and Mars and Aquarius. And with Aquarius' ruler, Saturn, being in Pisces right now, we have to allow ourselves to accept the rules of flirtation and aggression, to steady our groove as we move forward in our process. So in this setup, or situationship, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, this thing that we find ourselves in, well, I like it. I think it's stable, and I'm very accepting of it, and I hope you like it too. So these videos are kind of like dating in that way, you know? You just accept the social rules of flirtation and aggression so things will be stable. And then later in the video, you find out that I am an obsessive and perverted Scorpio. That's how I set you up. Ah, so this is a setup. Well, maybe in a way, I guess. But don't worry, for now we are going to use the current sky to be calm and accept the rules that have been put in place to keep us looking good. So, with that good looking, let me do my TV dad bit where I lecture you on how to focus on yourself and not assholes. The Sun conjunct Saturn lecture basically translates into a confidence-building lecture for you to focus on your inner superstar. And, for those with either their natal Sun or natal Saturn in Pisces and think they're Jesus Christ, focusing on your inner Jesus Christ superstar. All right, children of the world. Now, we don't have to have a savior complex to know that we can accept a lot. But how much are we going to keep taking in order to stay socially civil, to not cause a scene? We have to have faith that when we are finally tired of accepting the same old shit, then we can be organized and composed enough to move on, and that there's a system in place that will allow us to move on. It might take a while, but as long as we follow the rules and remain calm and don't succumb to drama, we will be able to accept the things that are important to us, and accept only the things that will build up our confidence and allow us to focus on who we really are. We need to have a system for filtering out the surrounding drama that has no value. You do not have to engage in the drama that other people or the outside world may try to project onto you as they try to get you out of your zone. So make sure you are in a good spot, in a happy zone. Don't get stuck in a spot where you keep stepping in people's bullshit. Find a good spot, stay there, lock in, and step on that foundation that will build you up, Buttercup. And yes, Build Me Up Buttercup was a hit song by the multiracial, multinational, British West Indies pop soul 1960s band, The Foundations. And I want to stick with the 1960s music theme to talk about the transition of Venus from one Saturn-ruled sign, Capricorn, to another Saturn-ruled sign, Aquarius, as they are the only signs right next to each other that are ruled by the same planet. Venus in Capricorn loves respect. Respect. Remember we talked about this? It was even in the title of my last video. So anyway, the transition, and a fashionable transition it is, of Venus going from the sign of Capricorn into the sign of Aquarius is best encapsulated by the lyrics of the Aretha Franklin song, Respect, which, I must add, was written by and originally recorded by Otis Redding, because you always gotta respect who wrote the song. So anyway, the lyrics start with, "What you want? Baby, I got it, I got it. What you need? You know I got it. All I'm asking for is a little respect. Is that too much to ask? I mean, Venus in Capricorn doesn't ask for too much beauty, but it has some standards for being treated nice, right? And then the lyrics eventually transition to sock it to me, 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 sock it to me. And that last part is Venus in Aquarius because Aquarius rules the calves and ankles. And so with Venus in Aquarius, it is about socks and beauty and fashion with things like socks, 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 and bell bottoms especially, and pantyhose, and fishnet stockings, and hiking boots, and high heels, and a Build Me Up Buttercup tattoo on your ankle. So have a fashion system and aggressively flirt with your calves and ankles. And because Mars is there in Aquarius with Venus, take care not to make up your calves if you shaving your legs is part of your daily beauty routine. Alternately, not shaving your legs, especially if you are making an assertive Aquarian social statement on what can be beautiful, well, that is cool too. Accept it and dig it. Look, Jupiter is ideas. And with Jupiter in Taurus, this fashion system can tend to get stuck in a repeating pattern, sure. But that's the idea. There are pops and skips and runs in your pantyhose, and it ends up on repeat. It's like a record with scratches that gets caught in a groove. So put on your favorite pantyhose and wear them until those leggings are worn the fuck out. So the record is on repeat, and then your house DJs run pantyhose DMC, keep repeating, are there any pantyhose in the house tonight? Are there any pantyhose in the house tonight? And sure, you might rummage through all the drawers in your house looking for pantyhose that don't have rips in them, but with Venus and Mars in Aquarius, the rips in your pantyhose are stylish. The rips in your jeans, the lower part of your jeans, around your shins and ankles, they are stylish. The scratches in your record are stylish. Now the sexual aggression of Venus and Mars in Aquarius has to follow the rules, dude. Like I said, I'm an Otis Redding fan, and I know you like Otis Redding too. I know that you like sitting on the dock of the bay in your pantyhose as much as the next guy. But we're going to move up our music references all the way into the 1980s to give you some context about fashion and aggression. So there was this group in the 1980s and 1990s called Two Live Crew that was led by this guy who went by the name Uncle Luke. Now in his natal chart, Uncle Luke has Neptune at 10 degrees Scorpio. So yes, he projected this very sexualized image or illusion. But his Neptune in Scorpio makes a 90-degree square to his Venus in Aquarius. So there were some fashion rules that he had to follow in order to project his sexualized image. The censors in the 1980s and 1990s did not like him. For example, his group, Two Live Crew, had this song called Pop That Pussy. Hey, pop that... Anyway, I'm not going to sing it. And the censor said, can't you change it to Pop That Pisces or maybe Pop That Pantyhose? And he said, no, what's wrong with Pop That Pussy? And they said, well, if you want certain radio stations to play it, you have to change it. So he did a second version called Pop That Coochie. So your style might be aggressive, but you still have to follow rules. Because, there was a news story a few weeks ago about customers wearing blackface in the beauty product store Sephora, during Black History Month, no less. Now, Saturn represents realities, and Saturn in Pisces is very sensitive to reality that there have been cultures that in the past were systematically prevented from portraying themselves to a mainstream audience in a positive light. And Venus and Mars in Aquarius institute social rules that allows people from all cultures to be beautiful and competitive as their true selves, not lampooned as a caricature from someone that isn't representative of their culture. It doesn't mean that we can't appreciate and incorporate art and humor from other cultures if that art and humor can be applied universally. Meaning, if you are a white-ass astrologer, you can still go out in the town and sing Pop That Pussy, Pop That Coochie, Pop That Constantinople now, because all races and cultures have pussies and coochies that want to be popped. You just can't sing it while wearing blackface. The moon entered Scorpio on Wednesday night at 10:09 p.m. Eastern Time. At 5:51 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday evening, the moon will begin to form a trine to the Saturn-Sun-Mercury stellium, yet also begin to square Venus and Mars. The moon will also oppose Jupiter around this time too. Okay, look, there is some social protocol you have to adhere to as you try to contain and control your feelings and emotions. But really, you do want to eventually let it all out. You might be feeling a bit on edge, but when you let it out onto something that is stable, solid, and accepting, it will all feel okay. And you will trust that it is safe to let go. Realize that there is no use trying to adhere to social rules that don't take you to a deeper place. The moon enters Sagittarius on Saturday morning at 8:56 a.m. Eastern Time and begins squaring the Saturn-Sun-Mercury stellium at 4:11 a.m. Sunday morning. So Jupiter in Taurus wants you to slow it down a bit and make sure your feelings are genuine, so you're not just getting carried away with a wave of release without understanding your feelings. There's still a journey to go on, even as you are basking in a sensitive release. The moon enters Capricorn at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday afternoon. Allow yourself to feel. It's okay to just be still and focus on one thing, because that's how you build something solid. The moon enters Aquarius at 7:38 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday evening and will begin to go over the Mars and Venus conjunction at 1:51 a.m. next Friday morning, March 8th. So calves, ankles, and social rules of fashion and aggression. Speaking of which, I've been wearing the same style of jeans since I was a teenager. Levi 560, 34 waist, 36 length. And now they don't make them anymore. They just decided to stop making them. When I was a really young kid, I just wore gym shorts and sweatpants, but that was not socially acceptable, I guess, so I switched to jeans. And now, all these years later, they stopped making Levi 560 jeans. Now, as far as the pairs I still do have, well, they're getting frayed and torn towards the bottom. The Aquarius region, you know? Of course you know. What should I do, walk around in society in my underwear? Because maybe I'll do that. Oh, but the moon, Mars, and Venus in Aquarius says that society cares about fashion rules. You are free to wear whatever you want as long as that adheres to some social culture. Fine, whatever. I'll buy some other uncomfortable style of jeans to please society, because the style of wearing no pants at all is considered too aggressive. Fine, whatever. And the moon enters Pisces next Friday night, March 8th at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time. Even though they stop making your favorite pair of jeans, you just have to accept it. And maybe you will find somebody to kiss the ground that you walk on. And maybe they will kiss your feet too if you ask them nicely. And you will accept that you are important to somebody, no matter what designer jeans you are wearing. Now, before I get into the Beatles, I just want to observe that people are so gossipy on the internet. People love to ask, who is so-and-so's wife? That's usually the first thing that comes up in the drop-down section after typing in someone's name on a Google search. You type in WiseAssAstrology, and Google continues with WiseAssAstrology. Well, I'm not married, but if I ever do get married, I now know that the internet is going to be talking about my wife's butt. But enough about me, let's talk about the Beatles. It was George Harrison's birthday this past week on February 25th. And all you gossipy yentas on the internet want to know is who Georgie Porgy was pouring out a Scorpio moon to during his Beatle days. Well, she, like him, was also a Pisces sun. The answer is that during the 1960s, Georgie Porgy Pisces popped Patty's Pisces pussy. So peace, love, stars, and listen to the Beatles, and pop your Pisces on my piano.